She called me into her office at 11:47 p.m., a time when silence becomes a living thing, when walls stop echoing and start listening. The glass city outside her window was dark, but she wasn't. She sat behind her polished desk like a verdict waiting to be spoken, her fingers resting on a document she hadn't yet given me, her eyes colder than the marble beneath our feet. "Sit," she said. I didn't. I simply watched her, watched the strange tremor she tried to bury under corporate perfection. Then she exhaled. Slow, measured, rehearsed. "I'm suspending you until further notice." A pause. "You'll need to approve the arrangement before you return." Arrangement. That word hung between us like the smell of something dead. She didn't blink. The open marriage. With him. You know who I'm talking about. I didn't respond. My pulse stayed quiet. Too quiet. It scared her. She leaned back, smirking, as if expecting outrage, chaos, something loud enough to prove she still controlled me. Instead, I simply said, "All right." Her smirk sharpened, triumphant. She thought she'd won. She hadn't looked closely enough at my eyes. She hadn't noticed the stillness. The kind that only appears when a man no longer fights to save something, only to bury it. The next morning she walked into the office expecting me, expecting my compliance, expecting submission, until she saw my empty desk, and my resignation, sealed, waiting. Her face froze, eyes widening as she looked at me across the corridor, like she'd just seen a stranger, or something worse. I had always believed betrayal made noise, shouting, doors slamming, broken glass. But hers came quietly, small inconsistencies that threaded together over months, weaving a truth too ugly to touch. It started with a message that wasn't meant for me. 3 words, "Miss you already." She claimed it was a client. Clients don't send red heart emojis. Then came the late meetings, the untouchable phone, the sudden perfume she wore only when she claimed she was exhausted. But the night she suspended me, just to force my approval of her lover, that was the fracture point. The perfect incision, clean, surgical, almost professional, as if she had rehearsed the moment she'd break my dignity. She used her title, CEO, to mask the real intention. She used corporate language to hide emotional cruelty. She used the company we built together to suffocate me. And I let her believe it worked. Inside, something caved in silently. A space where trust once lived folded in on itself, then burned. But I didn't react. She mistook my silence for surrender. She didn't understand the kind of quiet I carried. The cold, strategic quiet of someone who traces every detail, every lie, every shift in tone, until the shape of the truth becomes undeniable. And beneath that quiet was a deeper truth. She wanted to humiliate me to justify her affair. She wanted to push me out of my own life so she could step into a new one without guilt. She wanted my approval so she wouldn't have to feel like a villain. I gave her the all right she asked for, just not the version she expected. When I walked out of the building that night, the air felt colder, not around me, inside me. I didn't rage, I didn't drink, I didn't spiral. I observed, quietly, methodically. Her lover was easy to find. Arrogant people always leave fingerprints. His name appeared in small corners of her phone bill, late-night calls disguised as business check-ins. His car, black, forgettable, appeared outside our apartment twice when she claimed to be at the gym. I didn't confront her. Confrontation gives the guilty a chance to lie. Instead, I gathered. Emails forwarded to a private archive. GPS logs from our shared car app. A hotel receipt accidentally synced to our cloud. Her mistake, not mine. Each piece slid into place like a puzzle she didn't know she was building. And while I worked, I maintained the calm she expected, the obedient stillness of a man she thought she controlled. I even replied to her good night texts with short, polite responses. Nothing unusual, nothing suspicious. People reveal themselves most when they believe you're blind. But the real fracture happened 2 days later. My daughter-in-law called, demanding I wash dishes before Thanksgiving dinner if I wanted to be included. I told her, enjoy. No emotion, no fight. Then I boarded a plane. The villa in Switzerland was colder than a secret and quieter than shame. I took a photo from the balcony, white mountains curling around the horizon like teeth, and posted it to the family group. 71 missed calls followed. Entitlement always exposes itself when denied. My wife called too, but not to ask where I was. She just left a voice message. We need to talk. No anger, no affection, just fear. Because she knew the silence between us was no longer passive. It was deliberate. And deliberate silence is dangerous. The courier delivered the envelope to her office at 9:12 a.m. I watched from across the street, unseen behind tinted glass, as she slid it open with a trembling hand. Inside, printed records, dates, calls, hotel times, everything. No accusations, no comments, no anger. Just the truth, laid out with the precision of a surgical report. She read the first page and snapped it shut. Then she looked up, searching, panicked. Her eyes darted across the windows of the building, trying to locate the gaze she felt burning into her. A predator instinct, not mine, hers. She wasn't afraid because she was caught. She was afraid because she didn't know how long I had known. She didn't know what else I had seen, what else I had documented, what else I had already done quietly, calmly, before handing her the truth she believed she controlled. Her lover entered her office minutes later. He looked confident. He walked out pale. She followed him, grabbing his arm, whispering harshly. I couldn't hear the words, but I understood the shape of panic in her movements. Everything between them began collapsing in real time. She clutched the envelope like it was evidence in a trial she never expected to attend. And she still hadn't seen the resignation letter. That part was next. I walked back into the building with the quiet authority of someone who has nothing left to lose. She appeared in the hallway, eyes wild, face drained of color. "Where have you been?" she demanded, voice breaking at the edges. "In the places you forgot I existed," I answered. I set the resignation letter gently into her trembling hand. Her mouth opened, closed. She wasn't used to losing the script. You can't just leave," she whispered. "I already did." "But the arrangement." "There is no arrangement." Her breath faltered. "The open marriage? That was your fantasy, not my reality." She tried to speak again but couldn't. It was strange watching the strongest woman I knew suddenly become small under the weight of her own choices. I stepped closer, not threatening, just present enough that she couldn't look away. "You suspended me," I said quietly. "You tried to push me out of my own life so you wouldn't feel guilty walking into another." A tear slipped down her face. I didn't reach for it. "You asked me to approve your betrayal." I leaned in, voice almost a whisper. "And I did, by walking away." Her knees weakened. She caught the wall to steady herself. In that moment, she realized the truth. I wasn't leaving because she chose someone else. I was leaving because she thought I'd stay. I left the building without looking back. People imagine closure as a grand moment, a speech, a final confrontation, something cinematic. But real closure is quiet. It's the moment you stop bleeding. The plane rose over the clouds, leaving the city behind like a bad memory I no longer needed to examine. She kept calling. My daughter-in-law kept messaging. People who once leaned on my silence suddenly feared it. Funny. For years I tried to keep the peace. Now I finally understood. Peace doesn't come from holding everything together. It comes from stepping away before you shatter with it. As the mountains of Switzerland came into view, glowing like they had been carved from frozen fire, I felt something I hadn't felt in months: weightlessness. Not joy, not triumph, just release. She once asked me who I thought I was. Her last message, voice trembling, repeated that question. Are you the angel of death? Maybe. Or maybe I was just the man who finally stopped carrying the corpse of a marriage she killed long before she admitted it. Either way, the answer didn't matter. I smiled as the plane descended. Some endings don't need witnesses, only distance. I didn't leave to punish her, only to resurrect myself.